All right, so character development is hyper important to me. And um, a lot of thought has gone into the backstory and is continuing to go into the backstory of each of the characters. Um, as I work and as things sort of reveal themselves to me in life and in things that I come across and little snippets of conversation or people that I encounter or just observation of the world. And so and also in my studies of all kinds of different things, from philosophy to the bare bones of character development, and then all the way to like the essence that I want to be conveyed, or the not lessons, but the experiences that I want to put into my books. So the characters are being developed in a very organic and expansive way, I suppose. Sometimes they even started with a name. Two of the main characters that I'm going to just quickly unpack here for you today would be Kalea and Anahata. And these two characters are really the heart of the books. And it's their story that exemplifies this whole theme, like the overarching, all encompassing, womb like theme of love. And I don't just mean love in the sense of romantic love, although there is that aspect, but also the love of community, the love of like all that is, and the connecting force of everyone. So without going into that too much, because that's more of a discussion about theme, I'm gonna just introduce two of I love these characters. I actually love all the characters, even the one that you might consider to be sinister or bad. Um, yeah, but yeah, I love them. And they are both elders in the community. So I'm just going to unpack them here now. So Kalea, her name means beloved, and her calling is of the polymath. So that is someone who understands all kinds of disciplines and can interrelate and connect them all and see how like math connects to geometry and geometry is, you know, I guess physics, and physics connects to philosophy, and philosophy connects to sociology, and on and on and on it goes, and to art. So she's a polymath in the true sense. She understands all of that. Her brain works in that way. She sees the geometry of the universe. Okay, and she's a weaver, which I would call someone who can see that. She also a weaver in my books is someone who they all see this in the Eastern realm, but they all see the connections between each of them and their stories, and how all our souls kind of can match up and weave together, and all our stories and everything weaves together. She can actually like tune into that and see that to a greater depth than other characters can. She's a wisdom keeper, a storyteller. She's actually the storyteller throughout the books, and she's a wordsmith, a spell caster, right, in by way of words, and an elder. So she's the daughter of Sue Anna, and I haven't decided who her father is quite yet. That's still kind of percolating and formulating in my mind. And she's the mother of Kamaria. She and Anahata have one child, and beloved to Anahata. And her physicality is that she has long, wispy, but full silver hair, and her hair is often braided. And she has these kaleidoscope eyes that basically change from color to color. And sometimes they'll settle on a color, but they'll often change all through the different colors. And she's about 5'10", so she's a little bit on the taller side for a woman. And she's slim but wiry. She's strong. She's fit, and she has this kind of like porcelain skin. Of course, she has wrinkles. Like she's I can't remember how old she is in these books. She's like 75 or maybe older, probably a bit older because they live longer. Their time moves differently in the Eastern realm. But her skin is like that, like so soft and porcelain, right? That, and it's not porcelain as in color. She's, tan, she's outside, but it's lighter than Anahata's skin a little bit. and it's very soft, like you just want to touch her face. So her expression is of laughter, joy. She's kind of a bit of a goofball. She's serious when she's studying or inventing. So she's gets very studious. She can like like she sees everything. She can puzzle out things. She's brilliant inventor. But she has great joy and laughter. So she's not too serious in life, and she embodies play and the eternal flame of youth, of youthful innovation, right? Youthful innovation and creative energy. And she's free spirited, she's animated, easy to laugh with sparkling, ever changing eyes, like I said. So her eyes are kaleidoscope, but they're sparkling. She's always got like, like knows the punchline of a joke. Like that kind of the eyes are like that. Her brother's a bit like that, Adonis. She believes that laughter moves the spirit and releases the soul. So she, again, joyful, goofy, fun, impish, grateful for everything. She speaks freely in language that is mystical but fun, right? So she can kind of come across as sounding like, this mystical words or, but fun at the same time, not taking that too seriously, where it's inaccessible, right? Like where it's just like, this is profound, but still it's fun, right? And somehow, her language is a little bit odd to outsiders because she's so free to just say what it is in her heart. And so her statement is, I am Kalea, daughter of Suana, beloved to Anahata, mother of Kamaria. I sing to the calling of the polymath, the weaver, and the storyteller. So I'm going to unpack this a little bit more. It's going to take a few minutes to do a bit of Kalea's background here. So I have categories that I've gone through and thought through for each character, and one of those is the family and circle of intimacy. So who is her family and her circle of intimacy? So Kalea's mother is the youngest of the ancients, who is Suana, and Suana's age, she's about 130 at present day. And Kalea has a daughter, Kamaria, and wholemate Anahata, who together are the purest example of the Holy Trinity of union. She has four older brothers, Alexander, Adonis, Hector, and Duke in or order of birth. So Alexander's the oldest, then we've got Adonis and Hector, and then Duke is the youngest of her brothers. And her best friend, besides Anahata, is Yara. And Yara actually means good friend, I think, actually, the translation is. And she's also quite close to Yara's sister, Arya, who ends up as Alexander's wholemate, so her brother's wholemate later on in life. They've got a whole backstory there that I'll tell you all about another time. So she and Anahata have five grandchildren: Melina, Indigo, Cressida, Poppy, and Coda, and five great grandchildren. So that would be Molina and Enzo's sons, Aquila, Maximus, and Bear. And so Maximus and Bear are twins. And Indigo and Eric's daughter, and Eric is spelled Arek, their daughter Mariposa, who everybody calls Posy, and Cressida and Arcturus's daughter Ember, who is newly born at the beginning of the books. She's also very close to young Bodhi. He comes in from the Western realm, and he comes in as a youth, and so she mentors him as he is an emerging weaver. He's a really special character, Bodhi. She mentors him and others and keeps him grounded and understanding that the VR world, the virtual world, is only part of reality. So some of these kiddos that come over from the Western realm have been immersed in a world of VR, of artificial intelligence, of gaming actually for some of them. So it's pretty interesting contrast. So she works closely in the workshop with Arcturus when he's not traveling, with Poppy and Yara. So Poppy, her granddaughter, and Yara, her friend. So they're in the workshop. They're the thinkers, right? They're the thinkers. They're the inventors, but the creative inventors. And she's a brilliant scientist who also works closely with her brothers on maintaining their connection with their technology. So they connect with it, they stay in harmony with it, they advance it. And Alexander is a concepts person. Adonis and Hector build what the rest of them can imagine. So they're the builders. They're also carpenters. They're also craftsmen. And Duke helps where he can, but is more engaged with the natural world, with its creatures and life forms like plants, bodies of water, and the elements. So her genius, there's another category that I parse out for each of my characters. So her genius, Kalea is a true polymath, knowing that everything is connected, with the ability to weave together all disciplines and schools of understanding, including all three levels of understanding. Okay, so I have an infographic that explains this, but it's called "The Story of Life." And but just for like for the sake of this here, just know that she weaves all of this together, all of these disciplines. Um, so I'm not going to go through what those are. Okay, so back to Kalea. So as a weaver, she can also vividly see the threads that weave all people, all life together when she tunes into this ability. She does not see this at all times as it would disable her from living in this world. Kind of like the ancients, they kind of don't, they live like with a foot in this world, but not really of this world. But she maintains her connection to this world, this physical embodiment. But she can see the connections like a piece of tracing paper overlaying the realized reality when she chooses to. So she can feel it at all times, however, as a kind of knowing. She knows this. She doesn't have to tune in completely to, get all the details, but she feels it. It's a part of her being and her intuition. Her work is in inventing, innovating, producing, and maintaining clean energy sources, new technology, which is always at the core based on harmony and connection, kind of like what they knew in ancient civilizations, in Chem, in Atlantis, in Egypt, those places, where you find all of the evidence of their really advanced technology that wasn't, taking from the earth, but actually was in resonance. It's something that we can't really tap into right now because we're so we're discordant really at this in our reality actually. um so um so yeah, so the technology which is always at the core based on harmony and connection, ease and receivership, and not force or overriding or manipulation. She works with connecting and harmonizing and energize the energies that exist on the planet and in the cosmos. So she's gets all that. She gets it. She sees the geometry of the universe. As a wisdom keeper, storyteller, and wordsmith spellcaster, Kalea's stories go infinitely beyond landing in the heads of those who listen as moral teachings, right? They go beyond that, but are transmitted into their very beings where they feel, experience, and wholly understand not only the themes, but the wisdom of the words and what they cast, right? As enchanting spells of love, creating not more illusion and Maya, but the possibility of a choose your own adventure, of the lucid dreamer. She can connect those who sit at her fires to their lives, their individual and collective experiences, their genius, knowing that each person is an integral and desired being participating in a shared story. Her words resonate truth in its totality, both difficult and easy, provide a balm, catalyze healing through the very unpacking that leads to awareness. They transmute disharmony into harmony and inspire receivers to create their own expansive versions of life, thereby expanding the shared story through the shared experience, the shared co-evolution, the living story. She does with words what her daughter Kamaria does with visual art. And so we'll unpack Kamaria at another time. So basically, Kalea in her, and she's the storyteller, her purpose is literally the flavor of the books themselves too. So the books, in my words, I hope to do those things as well, and in the transmission of those words through voice, give that shared story and experience, breathe life into it, and make that not only a story that was fun to read, but an experience, literally a physical, mental, emotional experience. Okay, so Kalea is goofy, she's always laughing, and Anahata is caught watching her laugh many times a day, and it never gets old, only deeper like a fine wine, their love. So together they are the great chakra, the heart chakra, sorry, bringing together the three upper chakras and the three lower chakras in powerful union. They are yoga lived and embodied. Okay, so here's a little bit about her story before I move on to Anahata. Um, Kalea traveled to every settlement in the ER, in the Eastern realm, with her beloved Anahata before they returned to stay in Vale's Edge to steward the people entering from the Western realm. Anahata was taken in by Kalea's family when he appeared one day with no memory of where he came from. So he was probably um, early teens, maybe like, he's like a tween when he shows up in their lives and they take him in. And yeah, and he has no memory of that. And there's a reason for that. I'm going to go into that in a second. So they have one daughter, Kamaria, and like I said, and five children, one child, Kamaria, who has five children. And I've already mentioned that. So the books begin, oh, am I going to tell you this? I'm going to tell you this. So the books begin with Kalea's death after an encounter with a mother bear and her cub, and Fleetfoot, who is involved, who is Divine's little 2-year-old son who was lost in the woods. So this whole thing happens the first book, one of the first scenes. So this is what the catalyst is for all of this, storytelling. Her death was accidental and largely due to a misunderstanding. But she's present throughout the whole series, as most of the events in the books are a backstory a series of backstories, and take place before Kalea's death. She's also present as the storyteller throughout. She's the heartbeat of the whole book series. All right, so I'm going to go on to Anahata. Thanks for hanging in with me. We'll be a few more minutes. Hope it's so engaging. You don't even know how much time has passed. That's the idea. So Anahata, his nickname is Ani, and only Kalea calls him Ani. So his name means heart chakra. Okay, it's literally the heart chakra. That's Anahata. And his calling is heart mender, and he's an elder. So he's a lot simpler in his calling, what he does, his purpose, right? And he's the son of, we don't know. It's a mystery. He seems to be connected to all equally. And he's the father of Kamaria, and who was born when he was 49. And actually, Kalea is a couple years older than him. So you'll see in their story how um, it's just only a couple years older, but it's enough when you're a teen, to be like, okay, wait, hold your horses, buddy. We're gonna wait for you to grow up until until we can have some kind of relationship. Okay, so beloved to Kalea, and his physicality is that he's beautiful. He's got this beautiful sun-browned leathery skin, and he has deep laugh lines. And he's short. He's like 5'6", and he's fit and he's sturdy, and he has many tattoos and ear piercings. And tattoos and ear piercings mean things in this community. Um, and they're beautiful. It's not like all over the place and they're random. I mean, obviously they have meaning. And he's sharp yet kind. He's got these sharp, kind, azure blue eyes, right? Again, like kind of like Kalea, and that his eyes are always dancing with sort of like the punchline, but he's more intense. She allows him to release and be playful, although he's always with the children. But he's a lot more heartfelt, intense. Like um, his love is so big, and it just like exudes from him. He's intense. So he is by far the shortest of his brethren. So all of Kalea's brothers just like tower over him, and he's, like I said, 5'6" or so, and all of her brothers are very tall, and she's very tall. So, but he's a giant in that he's the most connected to his heart. And so his expression, he can be serious, earnest, and laughs and cries easily. Babies and children are always around him. He's most happy when those around him are loved and free. He can be loud at times and boisterous, but can also be extremely subtle, quiet, still, and silent. He always knows the appropriate decibel at which to interact. He's exceedingly patient and unattached to drama. He is passionate yet not dramatic in any way. So right, there's this difference about passion and drama. Passion comes from this like truth of self and a seeing of the beauty of all. But drama is just trying to have that pseudo experience of passion, right? He doesn't make things out of nothing. He expresses the awe in what actually is. If that makes sense. All right, so here's his statement. I am Anahata, son of, don't know, mystery, beloved to Kalea, father of Kamaria. I sing to the song of the heartmender and am a friend and lover to all. Sorry, I keep getting the hiccups whenever I read, which is really annoying. So, family and circle of intimacy. So, this is Anahata's family and circle of intimacy. So, Anahata and Kalea have one daughter who he has lovingly dubbed Coco. So, Kamaria's nickname to him is Coco and to Kalea. Nobody else really calls her that except for them. So, and she's named after the cocoa plant, the cacao plant they use in heart opening ceremonies. So there's a bit of information about dieta and what the cocoa plant actually means, but it's usually used in heart opening ceremonies, and it is in this society. And so they have 5 grandchildren. I've already mentioned their family. He's very close to his acquired brothers, Alexander, Adonis, Hector, and Duke. They're very strong. They have a very strong brethren, so they represent, the beauty of brotherhood in the books. There's lots more characters that do as well. With their sister and Anahata's beloved, Kalea, at the center, both at the center and encircling them all. So she does both. And he always has a baby or a toddler in his arms unless he's doing some kind of heart-mending work with the people of Vale's Edge or others that travel to see him. And his genius. Okay, so Anahata is very passionate and connected to his feelings like a blue aura, right? If you know anything about auras, he's a blue. His purpose is to love fiercely and deeply. He enters everything he does with great focus and intense passion. He loves to dance, especially with Kalea, and their joy is contagious to all who witness it. If they are at a gathering, everyone is enjoying themselves. Everyone's heart opens with joy, gratitude, and sometimes longing for what they have, which is not an end point, but becomes a quest for them to realize it in their own relationships. They bring all threads of the life web together. He is present at all the ceremonies at the healing houses, especially the birth ceremonies and the rites of passage and the vision quests, but he doesn't facilitate them unless it is appropriate for him to do so. Hoku and Oberon do this, so they're an interesting couple. But we're going to get into them another time. And John assists as he is serving as an outposter, but is an emerging body worker. And he does other things that I haven't quite clarified yet. But Hoku is from the Eastern realm. Oberon comes in from a tragedy, a near death experience. He was actually a war vet in the Western realm. So that's an interesting combo. And then John also comes in from the Western realm. And John is actually Bodhi, who I mentioned with Kalea's connection, Bodhi's father. Okay, so he's a recovering psychiatrist. I'm not gonna say anything about that. Okay. So Anahata is a full-time heart mender medicine man. His specialty is couples work and reconnection to self and others. The youth see him but are more inclined to go see Hoku and Oberon, as well as having unofficial firesides and conversations with Coyote. We'll talk about Coyote soon, to reconnect with themselves through nature and wildness and for coming of age ceremonies. The youth also seek out music and resonance and song through going to the gathering houses to immerse themselves in the choruses and or Koda's soundscape experiences. So remember, Koda is Anahata's grandson. He's Kamaria's youngest. Okay. And he was born just when Kamaria returns back, like literally that day. The return was actually the catalyst for his birth. Okay, so John and Jane, so again, Bodhi's parents, Sinead, and all of his grandchildren who have mates, okay, find great healing with and through experiences Anahata gently and lovingly curates for them. He assists them, so again, he's in heart mender, right? He assists them in moving from goal mates to role mates or soulmates into being whole mates. And that's unpacked in the books what that means. He assists in the release of judgment, of competition, of scarcity and lack, and helps the people to move themselves out of the frequency of fear and polarity and into the field of gratitude, abundance, and unity. Anahata, along with the other men and the children, tend to the needs of the women who choose to spend time in the red tent. He organizes this honor, so he's very connected to the feminine as well, and he reveres and respects it to the utmost degree. And they dance to respect the feminine during their quarterly sun dances. So there's a scene that is just like a glorious scene with the sun dance and the men dancing, and how that shifts and changes and illuminates, and all the relationships in throughout. It's like a ripple through of love through the and respect and reverence for the feminine, which is creation itself. And so his story, okay, so no one knows Anahata's origins, not even he himself. His memories of his life before the age of 13 are not any that can be explained or described in terms of the material, dense, physical world. Kalea can't even see where Anahata's root threads lead to, as he is connected to everyone and everything. So when he shows up one day in Vale's Edge, he is taken in by Suana and her children, so Kalea and her brothers, who become his brothers and his beloved. Kalea and Anahata's love story is a love that always was, in every density, from the physical to the cosmic. True wholemates, in each other they know the divine. Their power together is alchemical. Anahata's loss in the books is felt by all, but although he has deep pain, he does not despair and only loves more. Yeah, so that's Kalea and Anahata. They are the epitome, the um, the the living invitation for everything, of all unity, of all connection, of all healing. And every single story, and even theirs, is about the the challenges put forth for each of the characters to reach that, and not reach it, it's an evolution, toward and a reaching, a sacred longing for this expression of their genius, this experience of their relationships and what they bring forth, their experience of life, and some not that easy. A lot of things happen to a lot of the characters that um, you know push them, I guess, out of their containers and expand their containers actually into this ideal, right? That I've painted through these two characters of Kalea and Anahata, who themselves have their own challenge and their own, um, obviously, even some very painful things that happen. But there's such great love and joy in their story and their characters. All right, so I'm gonna stop now because that's long enough, and I hope you enjoyed that unpacking of these two beloved characters.